One of the cons of working as a doctor in the UK is the looming threat of getting into trouble with the GMC. What if you make a mistake and something happens, and then what if you're struck off the GMC register? That would mean obviously losing your job, losing your livelihood, and what if you're on a visa, potentially having to go back to your home country. It can be really scary. So in this video, I'm going to be talking about 5 shocking ways that people have gotten struck off the GMC register. So then you can also know that forewarned is forearmed. Hi guys, my name is Sisi, and if you're new here, and I'm a Ugandan medical doctor working in the UK. And one of the biggest problems I think about working as a doctor here that I never faced in my home country is like the whole worry of the GMC. So the GMC is the regulatory body for doctors in the United Kingdom. Its main aim is to protect the public by promoting and maintaining high standards of medical education, training, and patient care. So really the main point here is its main aim is to protect the public or patients. So the GMC is not necessarily there to protect you. So that's, I think, one of the key reasons why people are so afraid of the GMC, is that if there's any problem, it's like the main thing is to protect the patient and not really about you. So this is why you have to be making sure you're following all the rules and make sure you do your best not to make any major mistakes to get into trouble. Some of these things are quite obvious, but some of them are not. So make sure you watch till the end to make sure you are aware of what all the potential things are, to make sure you're avoiding them. Number 5 is substance misuse. I think this is pretty clear, but substance misuse, including any illicit drugs or even alcohol, if you're found to be using drugs in a way that, well, drugs generally, you shouldn't be using any drugs, but even alcohol, if it's impairing your ability to effectively practice medicine, then you can't be struck off for this. So make sure that you're not using drugs, substances, but also if you do take alcohol, do be making sure that you're never under the influence of alcohol while you're at work. Be careful, guys. If you're struggling with any of these issues, if you're struggling with substance misuse or substance use or alcohol use, consider contacting Practitioner Health. Practitioner Health does offer services that can help doctors in need. If you are a doctor out there and you're struggling, consider Practitioner Health, especially if you feel like now you've got some insight, you feel like probably maybe this is a bit too much. Contact them, a confidential service, and they're able to help you. Number 4 is fraud or dishonesty. So if you found that in any way you've been dishonest, like you've lied about something, so this could be in your application or even now that you're working as a doctor and you found that you've falsified any medical records, like writing things that didn't actually happen or anything like that. So anything that shows that it's dishonest or fraudulent, be very careful, guys. You want to be telling the truth at all times in your job and doing everything the way it was. Document the stuff the way they happened as far as you're aware. So make sure, because if you're found to have been fraudulent or to have been dishonest, then this can lead to you being struck off the medical register. Number 3 is neglect or incompetence. You can't neglect a patient. So for instance, you can't just not work on the patient just because you don't want to. There has to be a valid reason. And in that case, you must also make sure that, for instance, there is appropriate cover, like someone is going to take care of the patient. I remember in Uganda, sometimes if someone was annoying you, or if you just felt like you're not getting along with them, you could just leave them and say, I'm not going to work on this person. But you can't do that in the UK here, guys. You cannot just neglect a patient, especially if it's life-saving. You have to work on them and like help them as much as you can, as far as you're trained to do so. Incompetence also can lead you to being struck off the register. For instance, if you fail to diagnose a serious illness, this can also lead you to be struck off the register. So you have to be really competent in your job. So you need to be continuously, I guess, training, do continuous learning, because if at any one point it's found that you have failed to diagnose some major thing that could have maybe led to this person's death, or like it's very serious, then that can lead you to being struck off the register, guys. I think this is one of the most scary ones, because sometimes what if you just didn't know? What if you just slip your mind, you know? Like mistakes happen, but if your mistake leads to like missing something that could affect someone's life, then you can be struck off the register. So I think this is a bit one of the things that makes medicine such a very difficult profession, because in all other professions you can make mistakes and it's fine, but as a doctor, if you make a mistake and it leads to someone's maybe losing their life, this is a big deal. First of all, you yourself, you would feel so bad, but also like it can lead you to getting into trouble with like the regulatory body, and then you lose your license and then you can't work, and then so it's a lot of pressure being a doctor in general, but also being a doctor in the UK specifically. This adds some added layer of pressure. Number 2 is criminal convictions. So if you're convicted of a crime, any crime at all really, and it leads to a conviction, then this can lead you to being struck off the register. So if you're convicted of a certain crime like violence, drugs, or fraud, that's pretty straightforward, because these are things that are most likely going to affect your fitness to practice as a doctor. But also traffic violations. If a traffic violation leads to a conviction, then that can also lead you to being removed from the GMC register. So this is the one that I think is more easy to maybe not think about. But traffic violations, like for instance dangerous driving, over speeding, if at all it leads to a conviction, then that can lead you to being removed from the register, guys. So be careful when you're driving. Make sure you're doing everything as it should be, because it's all related somehow. And the number one reason that you can miss track of the register is sexual misconduct. So sexual misconduct refers to engaging in a sexual relationship with a patient, or even making advances to the patient. If you're in a position where you're their doctor or you're working with them, then you cannot again now start coming and starting to like flirt with them or trying to get into a relationship with them. The GMC is very clear on this, guys, and I know in some other countries this probably wasn't a big deal, but it is here, guys. So sexual misconduct is a big reason why you might easily get struck off the register if you try to be doing anything like that. So beware. So let me know in the comments below, is there something that is such a big deal here, like if you do this then you can easily be struck off the register, when actually in your home country it's like a normal daily thing? Let me know in the comments below. I would be happy to hear from you. If you like this video, then give it a thumbs up, and if you want to watch more videos from me, then please do subscribe. Thanks, guys. Bye.